Hello and welcome to another episode of our Midday Mentors program that we're using for a couple of years now, where we have short videos about exciting and amazing content. With me today is Arjan van der Poel. He's the founder and owner of Suerte Academy in the Netherlands, and he is keen, very keen on experience management. He told me that this is basically the next step for service management and for SLAs is experience management or XLAs. I'm curious. So Arjan, first of all, welcome. Good to have you here.
Good to be here.
Right. Let me ask you a couple of questions because I'm curious, like I said.
Sure.
Yeah? So tell us first, what is the difference between an SLA and an XLA? And why organizations should introduce XLAs?
I can. Before I explain the difference between an XLA and an SLA, I think it's important to know why we need these XLAs and even a little bit broader, why we need experience management. Because in my opinion, XLA is a tool, is a method, is something that helps you to increase your experience management capabilities. And why do we need it? Well, that's, I think, simple. Better experience by our employees and our customers leads to happier customers and makes our businesses more successful. Can you imagine that you are in a hospital and you have doctors and nurses using the electronic health system and they have a very good experience with using this? I think that will help them in better serving their patients, helping their patients, and therefore maybe even save lives. So I really think better experience, managing the experience of our services, and in our case IT services, is really to helping businesses.
All right. Okay.
So therefore it's important.
So I understand this is the next step. It is another level. Because at the moment we have SLAs, and you wanted to explain that. So an SLA, I think, is just quantity of these many calls have been replied to. Here's the reaction time, yes or no. If no, then there's a penalty for whoever is the service provider. Well, what's the difference? I mean, I can imagine that everything's green, yeah, everything's done, and then people are unhappy.
Exactly.
Is that what we're talking about?
That is what we're talking about, and we use the term the watermelon effect. So it looks green at the outside, but still on the inside is red. And I think this all has to do where SLAs come from. In ITIL, we talk about value and we talk about utility and warranty. Warranty is the availability and the performance of our services. A utility is about the functionality. There's not a clear place where this is all being measured. SLAs focus on availability. Is it available? Is it performing well? Do we handle our incidents fast enough? Do we handle our changes fast enough? But you can imagine that if you are the doctor in a hospital using the electronic health system, that being available is not enough. It needs to work in a functional way. It needs to serve your business processes. You need to be supported in a proper way if you have any issues, any difficulties.
If I'm using your hospital example, yeah, I can imagine. So let's say they have all these technical devices, and like you said, saved people lives. Yeah, so they know what they're doing. I, as a patient, might not know exactly if these things worked, were available or not. But I will judge the performance in the hospital probably upon the food. So if the food sucks, then I'm not happy, although everything worked perfectly. Is that comparable example?
Well, of course, the food could be a part of your experience. Yes, so if you look at it from a patient's perspective, then quality of the food could be part of your experience. And in your case, it definitely does. Yeah. So what is important, I think, in general, Stephan, is that if you talk about experience, that it should be clear what is the service we are talking about, and who is the customer, who is the consumer. So you could look at the patient level, at the total hospital experience. You could look at the doctor's level and focusing on the experience using the electronic health system. And if you would like, you could even look at a technical level. I am the service provider of, I don't know, a workstation or a technical service network, and I want to know the technical experience of that part. So the level of experience depends on the service and the customer, the user of that service, I think.
Which brings me to my second question, where I actually already gave a reply to half of it, is about the metrics. So what's the difference? I mean, if I'm measuring SLAs, it's very quantitative. Yes, no. Availability, yes, no. But how do you measure experience, customer experience, in a way that it can be seen not just subjectively, but also objectively?
What we try to do in XLA is basically measure three things. We try to measure the experience, which we call experience data or sentiment data. We try to measure process data, which we call operational data, which is how fast did we solve an incident. And we measure technical data, the availability of the components of our service. You could say the operational and the technical data is the SLA data and the experience is the XLA data, but we like to bring this all together in one, what we call XLA stack. And if you want to measure the experience, the sentiment, then you could ask questions like, how happy are you with being your support when you have an issue with your electronic health system? Or to what extent would you rate how the electronic health system supports your work? So you would bring it on a higher level. And if people find that this electronic health system is not supporting their work, that they can do their work more effective or more efficiently, then you have an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And what you try to do is relate and link those together. So if people are not satisfied, but everything turns green from the technical perspective, there's something going on. But the other way around is also interesting. We have some technical issues and still people are satisfied, which is possible because your support and your empathy and engagement with them is still very good, and then they might accept a little bit downtime on the technical side.
I agree. I mean, very often you could celebrate people's attitude, rather than the effective solution, because you see they try hard, and that is appreciated. To introduce experience management measurements, metrics, on top of SLAs or instead of SLAs, like combining them, as you said. There are service providers on one hand, and there are the user organizations on the other. Who has more interest, given that service providers very often have penalties in their contract, and then they appreciate hard measurements on quantity because then there is no debate about it. But I still think that sentiments and that can all change overnight. So where should the drive come from? Rather from organizations, or should the service providers be the ones that start with that? Who should go on one of your trainings first?
Well, I think customer organizations. So the people in the hospital, sticking with the example, the IT department of the hospital, or maybe if you want to bring it broader than the IT department, I think we should look at end-to-end services, experience improvement of the experience of using IT services, or even as a hospital in total, increase the experience of our patients. That would be the ultimate goal, I think.
Yeah.
Personally, I think managed service providers most of the time offering a part of the of the solution, of the total service. They will be one of the parties in this XLA framework.
So they can't be held reliable for everything else.
No, because again, the electronic health system requires a network provided by one service provider, internal or external. They need housing and hosting. They need an application. They need interfaces. All these different parts need to work together in order to deliver a proper experience, a good experience to, again, nurses and doctors using those systems. So they should be part of it, I think, of the total XLA.
All right.
And then, of course, you can still have penalties or not, because you still also have the technical data. But I think you want them to make also all these service providers the step on collaborating, not only focusing on their small part and their technical thingies, but have the end customer, the end user, the doctor and the nurse in mind in everything they do.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Many thanks, Arjan. As I mentioned already, you're offering trainings at Soeta Academy, and I think it's highly recommended for people to check that out, just to be managing the change and not being changed, because experience management will come more extensively. It will become commodity. I'm convinced of that.
Yeah.
It's really about leveling yourself up. So service managers, end user organization, as you mentioned already, they should look at your training. We have at the description of the video, there's a link for XLA trainings that you are offering. Hopefully some people see that and will join your trainings, right?
Yeah, I hope so too, because I truly believe it is the next step. It is not a trick and a simple thingy by using an XLA, but it's really extending your capabilities in organization to be from service focused, be more experience focused, because I think that helps your organization to be more successful.
Many thanks, Arjan, for joining me today and for having that conversation, and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.